Hello, people of Britain and Europe, and well, anybody who's interested in watching the video. I'm gonna title this video "What I do if I was in charge of Britain or Europe." Some very good points I'd make out. I mean, some of you, if you watched the previous video, would already know what some of the things I do. One of the things that I think is very important is recycling. Um, I see a lot of people do get encouraged to recycle, but they ignore this fact. In Australia, if you don't recycle, you're fined. Now, this is how I should say it as. If you don't recycle, you get fined. But if you recycle, you should be rewarded to encourage recycling. So, for example, say a family recycled, say, drank beer and they recycled like say 15 bottles of Foster's, then I, as a government, would give them a free bottle for recycling so many bottles. It'd be for every 10 bottles of cans or package of food, whatever can be recycled. I'd do my best to have as much things recycled as I possibly could, so that they could be reused again. And if every so many things they recycle, they'll get a free thing back. Now the thing is, they'll get if they don't recycle, they get a fine. Now you could argue the fact that what if someone puts that can of beer in someone else's bin? Well, I would have it so when you put your rubbish into the dustbin, it'll go through a little box thing, a little tube into outside bin that is only accessed from the outside by the government, the bin men, the council of that city or town or village. Um, every time that someone fails, for every recycled item that is found in rubbish, the person would be charged £1 for each one, and they would be forced to go to this place and sort out everything, what's recycled, what's not. Hopefully, this would, make people wake up and say, "Hang on, we don't want to do this. Let's, let's recycle." Um, yeah, I'm very strong on my piece. I'm very strong on equal rights. Um, I would definitely make Islam see its spot in Europe and actually conform like everybody else has to do. But of course, we wouldn't want Islam being offended by this. So, could I really do this? Well, if I was government, I could do what I wanted to do. And if anyone's offended by that, well, they can stay offended. You know, this is the United Kingdom. This is Europe. If I come in charge, you don't like, and you're not from the United Kingdom, not from Europe, and you don't like my laws, I ain't stopping you from leaving. You're more than welcome to leave. And everything, speaking of leaving and coming, I would actually close the gates, the doors, on the UK, because we have more people than a lot of bigger countries out there in this country. People don't realise this is not a big country. This is not a big country like Russia or America. This is actually a very small country compared to those countries. And people see that this is a country they can just walk into as if they own. No, let me put something straight. No one owns this country. There are laws that a lot of people leaving their countries come to Britain because they say they're in danger, they fear for their lives. There are laws stating that if you're in a country and you fear for your life, you must go to the nearest safest country. Now, last time I checked, Germany is no longer Nazi Germany. That's one of the countries that they fly over or travel through on the trails to the UK. Last time I checked, countries like Germany, Poland, um, what, Belarus, countries like them. Last time I checked, those sort of countries, those countries, and many more countries, were not dangerous countries to live in. So why are all these countries being ignored, and they're traveling all this way to come to the United Kingdom? That's something I don't get. Are these people who are leaving their country because they're endangered? Are they really endangered? I don't think so. I don't think so. A lot of rules I would bring in. One of the rules that I would like to conflict would be that all public transport would be free, because I'd couldn't never get rid of tax, because you get rid of tax and nothing is free then. But what I'd do is, people will work, earn the money, but all that money will come to me, and this is where I'll dish the money out equally. So there's no potpourri, there's no disagreements. Everybody has the equal rights. Everybody has equal rights. Very, very important. I would own the bus companies, the train companies, and I would make sure they're free. So you could jump on a bus and you go somewhere for the day and you don't have to pay a penny. Also, British people will come first in jobs. Any employers employing people who are going to work for employing Polish people or any other European people just because they're willing to work for less, would face in danger of losing their jobs and a heavy fine, because I don't think it's right that some people employ people from other countries just under the fact that they're willing to work for less. I'd also make it a law that any payment under the minimum wage, the person who is paying under the minimum wage loses a job. There'll be no corruptions, and my politics on drugs would be very strict, but also I look this way. Marijuana is being made a Class B drug now. Yes, being made Class B, but it's not as dangerous as tobacco. So I say this as this: if the majority of people want marijuana being banned, I would also ban tobacco. Make it a fair deal. Make it a fair deal. So if you had it when you vote, if you want weed being legal or illegal, you gotta think that you may end up losing your tobacco. Think about it, people. Please do. Um, I I would also like to point out that unfortunately these are like the fancies, because in order to be government you need to have a high quality of education. Unfortunately, the ones who have the high quality education seem to be idiots in the House of Parliament, as we all will know. I mean, when was the last time we had a Prime Minister with a bit of common sense? I can't remember. I mean, as far as I'm alive, I don't think we have. When Tony Blair was alive, well, when Tony Blair was in power, should I say, it was when George Bush said jump, Tony Blair jumped. Just like our government, when Islam says jump, our government jumps and does exactly as they wish. Yes, as you may have guessed, this is the end of our freedom. The smell of freedom. We'll smell that for much longer. But spare thought. I mean, we're always going to have idiots in the White House. We're always going to have idiots in the House of Parliament. As long as we can tell, because anybody with any common sense is automatically failed by the exam boards. If I was doing English or politics as an exam and I point out my views that are very sensible, I'll get a fail because they are worried